Hello mortals, and welcome. I've often found that power, true power, is a concept you grapple with, endlessly fascinating and endlessly misunderstood. You see it in your kings, your leaders, your fleeting moments of triumph. But have you ever truly considered the source, the archetype of all authority in Western mythology? Today we embark on a rather special journey, a pilgrimage, if you will, into the heart of Olympus itself. We are going to explore the many faces, the glorious and sometimes terrifying forms of the king of the gods, Zeus. Forget what you think you know, we're peeling back the layers of millennia. This isn't just a simple retelling of old stories. Oh no, it's far more intricate than that. We're going to dive deep into the very essence of how humanity has envisioned this titan among gods. Through the chisel of the sculptor, the brush of the painter, and the quill of the poet, we will witness Zeus as he has been imagined across the vast tapestry of myth and art. From the thunderous warrior to the clandestine lover, from the stoic judge to the compassionate father, each form, each facet, reveals not only something about him, but perhaps something about ourselves and what we yearn for in our deities. So, I invite you to join me on this grand exploration. Open your minds, let your imagination soar to the highest peaks of Olympus. As we travel through these legendary portrayals, I want you to consider a question. Which version of Zeus resonates with you? Which one sparks your curiosity or perhaps your fear? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be watching. Now let our journey begin. Let us begin where it all starts, with the image that commands immediate recognition, the classical Zeus. Picture him, if you will, seated upon his magnificent throne on the highest peak of Mount Olympus. This is not merely a king. This is the supreme sovereign, of the divine. His form is one of perfected, mature masculinity, a body sculpted by power itself. His beard is thick, a river of wisdom and authority, and his brow is furrowed not with worry but with the immense weight of cosmic governance. His gaze is intense, piercing, a look that seems to penetrate the very soul of any god or mortal who dares to stand before him. It's a gaze that says, I see all, I know all, I command all. Around him, the very air crackles with latent energy. You can almost hear the low hum of power emanating from his being. In one hand he might hold a scepter, the symbol of his undisputed rule, but it is the other that truly defines him. From his fingertips, tendrils of lightning dance and flicker, not as a threat, but as a simple, ever-present reminder of the cataclysmic force he holds in check. This Zeus is the embodiment of order, the architect of the Olympian hierarchy. He is the one who brought an end to the chaotic reign of the Titans, and his presence is a constant declaration that chaos will never rule again. He is respect, he is fear, he is absolute authority. Now let us strip away the marble halls and the golden throne. Let us look beyond the king and see the raw, untamed force of nature he commands. This is Zeus the Stormbringer, the living embodiment of the sky's fury. When his mood darkens, so do the heavens. Imagine a sky of placid blue suddenly churning into a maelstrom of bruised purples and angry grays. This is Zeus's displeasure made manifest. He is not just a god who the weather, in this form, he, the weather. The howling wind is his roar of indignation, the torrential downpour his tears of sorrow or rage. His presence in this form is both a terrifying and an awe-inspiring spectacle. He rides the tempest, his chariot pulled by winged steeds of shadow and lightning. The clap of thunder is the sound of his celestial hammer striking an anvil, a sound that shakes the foundations of the earth and sends mortals scurrying for cover. And the lightning, the lightning. It is his spear, his javelin, his definitive signature. A jagged, brilliant bolt tearing through the darkness is Zeus making his presence known, a divine pronouncement from the heavens. To witness this is to feel utterly small, to understand the sheer, overwhelming power that nature holds over the fragile world of men. Power, you see, is a fickle thing. Without principle, it is merely tyranny. And so we must turn to another of Zeus's most crucial forms, Zeus Xenios, the stoic protector of justice. Here the raw fury of the storm is tempered, forged into something more refined, more purposeful. Envision him not on a throne of splendor but in a great celestial court. He is clad in gleaming golden armor, not for war, but as a symbol of his inviolable authority and righteousness. The armor shines with a light that seems to dispel shadows and deceit, a beacon of truth in a world often clouded by lies. His expression is grave, impassive. the face of a judge who has weighed countless souls and actions. He listens to the pleas of gods and the prayers of mortals, his mind a perfect scale balancing right and wrong. The thunderbolt he wields in this aspect is not a weapon of capricious anger, but the instrument of enforcement. It represents his swift, unyielding and ultimately fair retribution against those who break sacred oaths, who betray the innocent, or who mock the divine laws of order and hospitality. This is Zeus the lawgiver, the foundation upon which the moral order of the cosmos rests. His justice is absolute, a force as inevitable as the rising sun. Let us return now to the peak of Olympus, but this time, let us absorb the sheer spectacle of it all. This is Zeus in his full, unadulterated Olympian splendor. Here, he is the ultimate monarch, the host of the grandest court imaginable. See him on his throne, carved from a single piece of polished gold, inlaid with ivory and every precious gem known to existence. He wears a crown, not of simple metal, but of woven starlight and laurel leaves, signifying both victory and eternal glory. His robes are the color of the deepest twilight sky, embroidered with constellations that shift and glitter with his every movement. His expression is not the fierce glare of the warrior or the stern mask of the judge, but one of a commanding yet fundamentally noble benevolence. This is Zeus at peace, his kingdom secure, his family of gods assembled around him. He oversees the feasts of ambrosia and nectar, his laughter echoing through the halls like distant, pleasant thunder. From this vantage point, he watches over the world of mortals, not as an interfering tyrant, but as a distant, powerful patriarch. It is a portrait of power realized, of ultimate authority worn with an air of majestic calm. This is the Zeus that mortals prayed to for prosperity and stability, the king whose serene rule kept the world in balance. But power, especially absolute power, has its passions, and Zeus was a being of immense passion. To understand him fully, we must now delve into his most infamous and perhaps most human aspect, Zeus the shapeshifter, the great seducer. This is where the rigid forms of king and judge dissolve into something far more fluid, more cunning. To pursue the objects of his desire, Zeus would not command, but beguile. He would transform, shedding his divine majesty like a cloak to become whatever was necessary to win the heart or at least the company of a mortal woman. Think of the sheer artistry, the glorious deception of it all. For Europa he became a magnificent white bull, gentle and majestic, with horns like a crescent moon. For Leda he descended as a graceful swan, his feathers softer than silk. For Danae, when she was locked away in a bronze tower, he became a shower of golden rain, seeping through the cracks to reach her. A flame, a cuckoo, even her own husband, there was no form he would not adopt. This aspect reveals a complex, chaotic nature, a god driven by desires so potent they compelled him to humble himself, to become vulnerable if only for a fleeting, stolen moment. It's a testament to his creative power and perhaps his greatest weakness. For all his dalliances and thunderous rages, we must not forget the title he held most dear, Father of Gods and Men. This is Zeus in his paternal role, a complex and often conflicted patriarch. He was the father of mighty gods like Athena, Apollo, and Artemis, and of legendary mortal heroes like Heracles and Perseus. In this form, his power is expressed not through force, but through guidance, protection, and sometimes stern disappointment. Imagine him watching over his children from on high, his gaze a mixture of pride, concern, and the heavy burden of knowing their fates. He was not always a gentle father. His will was absolute, and he demanded obedience. He could be a firm disciplinarian, punishing hubris and recklessness, as seen in his dealings with his son Ares or the ambitious Prometheus. Yet, beneath the strict exterior, there was a current of profound, albeit complicated love. He guided Heracles through his labors, offered counsel to Apollo, and wept for his mortal son Sarpedon when he fell at Troy. This Zeus is the ultimate father figure, powerful, protective, demanding, and deeply invested in the legacy of his children, both divine and mortal. He is the anchor of the great, sprawling, and often dysfunctional Olympian family. When order is threatened, when his throne is challenged, the king, the judge, and the father must all give way to the warrior. This is Zeus in his most terrifying and primal form, the general of the celestial armies. Witness him as he was during the Titanomachy, the great war against the Titans. He is no longer seated on a throne but stands at the forefront of the battle. his body crackling with raw, unbridled power. His armor is not golden and ceremonial but forged from blackened Stygian iron, scarred from 1,000 divine blows. His face is a mask of pure battle fury, his beard whipping in the cosmic winds of his own making. And in his hand, the Thunderbolt is no mere symbol, it is a weapon of mass destruction. He hurls bolt after bolt, each one a screaming, blinding spear of energy that can shatter mountains and boil seas. The sky is his battlefield, and he commands it utterly. The winds are his vanguard, the storm clouds his legions. This is not the distant king, this is a hands-on, visceral combatant, a being of pure destructive force unleashed upon his enemies. To face this Zeus is to face annihilation itself. With such immense power comes a terrible responsibility, maintaining the balance of the entire cosmos. This brings us to the dualistic nature of Zeus as both creator and destroyer. In his role as creator, he is the one who established the current order of the world. After the war with the Titans, he drew lots with his brothers, taking the sky for himself and setting the boundaries for the sea and the underworld. He is the architect of the world as we know it, the one who set the stars in their courses and decreed the laws that govern nature. His creative aspect is one of meticulous order and grand design. However, where there is creation, there must also be the potential for destruction. When humanity grew corrupt and defiant, when their hubris threatened the very balance he had so carefully constructed, Zeus did not hesitate to act as the destroyer. The Great Flood, a cataclysm sent to wipe the slate clean, was his doing. He unleashed the waters to wash away the wickedness of man, saving only the pious Deucalion and Pyrrha to begin anew. This Zeus is a chilling reminder that the same hand that can build can also tear down. He is the embodiment of cosmic renewal, a cycle of creation and destruction necessary to preserve the world's equilibrium. There is a power, some say, even Zeus must bow to fate, but the relationship is far more intimate than that. In this aspect, Zeus is the guardian of destinies, the keeper of prophecies. While the fates, the Moirai, may spin the threads of life, it is often Zeus who holds the scales upon which these threads are weighed. Imagine him in a quiet, secluded chamber on Olympus, surrounded by swirling mists of time. Here he is not a king or a warrior but a seer, his gaze turned inward, or perhaps forward, into the endless possibilities of the future. He holds the secrets of what was, what is, and what is to come. This knowledge gives him a unique and subtle form of power. He knew the prophecy that a son of his would one day be greater than he, a fate he masterfully avoided. He understood the destinies of heroes and the outcomes of great wars, often intervening just enough to ensure the fated path was followed, but not so much as to shatter it entirely. He is the grand chess master, seeing the entire board, every possible move, every potential outcome. This Zeus is quiet, contemplative, and perhaps the most powerful of all, for his authority comes not from brute force, but from an unparalleled understanding of the very fabric of existence. Finally, let us consider a form of Zeus that walks among mortals, hidden in plain sight. This is Zeus Xenios, the protector of the sacred bond of hospitality, the guardian of hosts and guests. In a world without inns or police, the custom of welcoming a stranger was a cornerstone of civilization, a sacred trust. And Zeus himself was its ultimate enforcer. Disguised as a weary traveler, a humble beggar, or a lost old man, he would journey through the mortal world, testing the kindness and virtue of humanity. Think of the story of Baucis and Philemon, the poor elderly couple who shared their last morsel of food and drop of wine with two strangers, who were, of course, Zeus and Hermes in disguise. For their kindness, they were saved from a flood that destroyed their selfish neighbors and were granted their wish to die together. But for those who were cruel, who turned away the stranger at their door, the punishment was swift and terrible. This Zeus is a god of moral lessons, a teacher who rewards compassion and punishes inhumanity. He is the quiet observer, embodying the belief that true virtue and wisdom are often found in the humblest of guises. And so, our journey through the many divine visages of Zeus comes to a close. From the thundering sovereign on his golden throne to the humble traveler testing the hearts of mortals, we have seen how one name can contain a universe of power, passion, and purpose. He's a paradox, isn't he? A god of justice who was himself a lawless lover, a bringer of order born from chaos, a destroyer and a creator. This complexity is, I believe, what has made him such an enduring figure, a myth that continues to captivate us thousands of years later. Now I turn the question back to you. We've seen the king, the warrior, the father, the lover, and the judge. Which of these forms of Zeus surprised you the most? Was it his cunning as a shapeshifter, or perhaps the quiet wisdom of his role as the protector of hospitality? I'm genuinely curious to know which aspect resonated with your own understanding of power and divinity. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation there. Every perspective adds another layer to this incredible story. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the heart of mythology. It has been a true pleasure guiding you through the clouds of Olympus. If you hunger for more stories, for more explorations of the gods and heroes of old, then do consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. There are so many more myths to unravel, so many more legends to bring into the light. Until next time, stay curious.